We all knew Caitlin Clark was going to be big. But this is global, generational, status symbol, pop culture mortality massive. We're not talking about star rookie getting buzz anymore. No, Caitlin Clark has transcended the sport. And the WNBA? It's spinning in the whirlwind of her orbit, clinging on for dear life while pretending it was in control the whole time. Because let's just say what everyone's thinking.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
Caitlin Clark's new Nike logo didn't just launch a sneaker line. It launched a revolution. And the timing couldn't have been more ironic. As Clark sat injured, missing games, unable to play, unable to run, unable to do the things she was actually signed to do, her name, her brand, her iconography was everywhere. On hoodies, water bottles, limited edition collabs, and most importantly, receipts. Nike's online store basically burst into flames. Sneakers sold out in minutes. Merch restocks got wait lists. Resale prices skyrocketed. Secondary markets were acting like she dropped a Yeezy collab. It was a consumer-feeding frenzy. Meanwhile, the WNBA, still tweeting out clips from 2019 like it's business as usual. Let's just call it what it is, a total brand split. On one side, you got Caitlin Clark, the athlete, yes, but more importantly now, the icon, engineer, and elevated by one of the most powerful companies on earth. On the other side, you got the WNBA, an aging league still fumbling basic fan engagement, scrambling to build a future while one of its players just became one. And here's where it gets wild. Caitlin Clark is already bigger than the WNBA brand itself. Let that sink in. Her logo, a single stylized mark, has more buzz than the entire All-Star weekend. Her absence from games makes more headlines than most team wins. Her name is literally driving a double-digit chunk of the league's total economic activity. That's not stardom. That's dependency. The league isn't just marketing her. They're relying on her. And that's not power. That's a liability. Because let's be real, the Clark-Nike collaboration isn't just selling shoes. It's selling an idea. The idea that Caitlin Clark is women's basketball. That if you want access to the sport, the culture, the future, you have to go through her. Nike didn't just invest in an athlete. They invested in a pathway. They saw that the WNBA wasn't moving fast enough and built a high-speed lane right through her logo. It's giving. LeBron 2003 meets Jordan Brand meets Taylor Swift Eras Tour. And honestly, good for her. She's earned it. Her stats, her leadership, her vision on the court, undeniable. Her ability to elevate teammates, to shift the gravity of a game, to draw defenders and sell tickets simultaneously, pure generational greatness. But let's not pretend this doesn't create a massive identity crisis for the WNBA. Because what happens when your most valuable asset isn't the league, but a person? What happens when your economic health depends on the knee stability of one rookie? When your attendance spikes vanish the minute she's not on the court? When all your partnerships are asking for Clark-centric deliverables, even if their deal is technically with the league, you become a co-star in your own product. And that's exactly where the WNBA is now, caught between a superstar with nuclear cultural influence and a league structure that still acts like it's running a summer camp. The Clark effect is no longer an effect. It's a takeover. And the league's scrambling to pretend it's in control of the narrative. Let's take a step back. Do you remember how this all started? Nike didn't just toss her a contract and call it a day. They gave her $28 million over 8 years. That's not an endorsement deal. That's a business partnership. That's, we're going to build your empire. And in exchange, we're going to own the blueprints. Her logo launch was treated with the same fanfare they give to an NBA Finals MVP. Full rollout, targeted ads, storytelling baked into the design language, merch drops synchronized with social media takeovers. Meanwhile, the WNBA's promotional strategy for the same player? One awkward press conference and a few reposted hype videos. Maybe a digital billboard if you're lucky. The difference in execution is so stark, it's painful. Nike is building a global icon. The WNBA is still trying to figure out if the interns scheduled the Instagram post. And you can see the league's internal panic. Because Clark's injury, while obviously unfortunate, exposed just how fragile their entire growth narrative actually is. The minute she went down, everything dipped. TV ratings? Down. Ticket sales? Down. Online engagement? Flatline. ESPN lost interest. Brands pulled back. Suddenly, the record-breaking season started to look like a sugar high. One player gets hurt and the whole system stutters? That's not momentum. That's a house of cards. And that's the problem. The WNBA didn't build a deep, sustainable ecosystem of star power. It latched onto one person. It clung to Clark like she was a life raft, instead of building a fleet. And now, as she becomes more valuable to outside corporations than to the league itself, they're stuck. If Caitlin Clark decided tomorrow that she wanted to step away from the league and focus on branding, storytelling, and sports media, she could, and the WNBA would be devastated. That's how disproportionate the dependency has become. Even her sneakers are telling the story better than the league. Think about that. Her Nike shoes are flying off shelves faster than the league can sell out games. Kids are drawing her logo in notebooks. Instagram influencers are using Clark gear for aesthetic posts. You don't even have to watch basketball to know who she is anymore. That's not just commercial success. That's cultural penetration. It's something the WNBA's been chasing for years. And now that they've got it, it's not even theirs. It's Nike's. It's Clark's. And if they're not careful, the league will end up being a footnote in her story instead of the platform that launched her. So here we are. The WNBA is experiencing a full-blown meltdown, not because Caitlin Clark is winning, but because she's winning too big. Her success is eclipsing the system around her. She was supposed to uplift the league, not become an entire foundation. And the scary part? This might only be the beginning. Because if her logo is as powerful now, imagine what happens when the signature shoe drops, or when Nike rolls out the full apparel line, or when she gets her own documentary, her own foundation, her own academy for the next generation of girls. She's not just building a career. She's building a brand empire. And the WNBA is still deciding which hashtags to use. It's not a knock on Clark. It's a knock on the infrastructure, the leadership, the lack of vision. Because if they had played this right, Caitlin Clark wouldn't be a one-woman economy. She'd be the entry point to a thriving, multiplayer, cross-team, dynamic ecosystem of stars. Instead, she's a life support system. And when you make one person responsible for keeping your entire league afloat, that's not inspiration. That's desperation. So what now? How does the WNBA respond? Can it even recover from the moment it lost control of its own narrative? Maybe, but it's going to take more than tweets and press releases. The league needs to diversify its storytelling. Immediately, build the mythologies around other players. Elevate rivalries. Protect its stars. Fix the officiating. Modernize the marketing. And for the love of basketball, stop acting like everything's fine when the foundation is cracking. Because the truth is clear. Caitlin Clark doesn't need the WNBA to stay famous. But the WNBA, it needs her just to survive. So what do you think? Has the league gone too far in its dependence on Clark? Or can they still turn this moment into a movement that includes everyone? Sound off in the comments. And if you're here for more brutally honest breakdowns of star meltdowns, marketing chaos, and sports power shifts, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Because while the league figures out what it wants to be, Caitlin Clark is already becoming everything. The deeper you dig into this Caitlin Clark, Nike, WNBA triangle, the more obvious it becomes. This wasn't just a marketing win for Nike. It was a hostile takeover, executed with a smile and a billion-dollar game plan. Nike didn't just invest in Clark. They outsourced relevance from the WNBA itself. And the league, either asleep at the wheel or paralyzed by pride, didn't push back. Now they're standing off to the side, watching a rookie carry the entire brand equity of a 28-year-old league, and hoping she doesn't twist her ankle again. Meanwhile, Nike's sitting courtside in a $28 million power suit, watching their investment print money, while the W fumbles its own hype. Let's not forget, Clark's logo dropped while she was not even playing, and it still sent Nike's e-commerce into the stratosphere. Think about that. A non-playing rookie became the league's biggest commercial event of the year. Do you know how wild that is? She didn't even need a highlight reel. No buzzer beater. No triple-double. No comeback win. Just a stylized logo and a color palette. And suddenly, the entire women's sports economy tilted in her direction like she was holding the Infinity Gauntlet. And the WNBA barely reacted. It's like they're in denial. Like they don't realize that Caitlin Clark has officially outgrown the league that signed her 6 months ago. Now, this isn't new territory in sports. We've seen star power outshine the league before. Jordan was the NBA in the 90s. Serena was tennis for 2 decades. Tiger was golf. But here's the thing. They all had structures behind them. Leagues, federations, networks, PR machines, organized, focused support systems that could sustain growth and carry the brand when the star wasn't front and center. The WNBA, it put all its chips on Clark, spun the wheel, and then left the table before the ball landed. And when she got hurt, they had nothing. It was like watching a band lose its lead singer mid-tour and try to keep the crowd hyped with backup dancers and fog machines. Sorry, but if the star's not there, no amount of press releases or empowerment graphics is going to fill that gap. And the fans, they noticed. You could feel the energy shift. People were excited, engaged, invested in this new era, suddenly start looking around like, wait, this is it? Games without Clark felt flat. Attendance dipped hard. TV ratings plunged. It wasn't even a slow decline. It was like someone hit the emergency brakes on a bullet train. And don't think the players didn't notice. 2, you could see the frustration, the subtext in interviews, the awkwardness in post-game sound bites. Because let's be real, the locker room dynamics are tense. Clark's getting custom logos and global campaigns, while some vets can't even get their names spelled right on local broadcasts. That's not bitterness. That's reality. The disparity is massive. You got one player being marketed like a Marvel character, and others who might as well be on silent mode. And it's not just a talent gap. It's a visibility gap, a respect gap, a resource gap, and it's fueling resentment across the board. Now let's talk about what Clark's branding really means, because this isn't just about some shoes and hoodies. Her logo? It's symbolic. It's a line in the sand. It's Nike saying, we're not just backing a player, we're backing the future of the sport. They didn't design a logo for the WNBA. They didn't roll out a campaign for all the rookies. They didn't do a league rising tour. They picked one, and they went all in. And honestly, it's hard to blame them. Caitlin Clark isn't just a basketball player. She's a cultural commodity. She's a narrative, a brand story, a marketing dream wrapped in shot charts and scrunchies. She's got Midwestern charm with killer court vision. She's white-hot popular, literally and demographically. She's clocked millions of new fans, and Nike sees years of returns baked into her signature line. But what does this mean for the WNBA? Here's the scary part. They don't know yet. They're in uncharted waters. And so far, they've done everything except build a strategy. No backup stars. No league-wide branding vision. No clear roadmap for balancing individual stardom with league identity. They want to ride the wave, but they forgot to build a boat. And now, Caitlin's popularity is so vast, so fast, and so valuable, it's warping the gravitational field of the league around her. Everything pulls toward her orbit. Everything starts to feel secondary. And if she ever decides she wants to leave the WNBA and focus solely on global branding, media, and endorsements, what happens then? Who replaces her? No one. There is no one. Because the league never made the effort to develop that depth. They never invested in growing multiple narratives. They just hitched their wagon to a comet and hoped it wouldn't burn out. So now, we've got this uncomfortable truth hanging over the whole operation. The WNBA doesn't have a Caitlin Clark problem. It has an identity crisis. It doesn't know how to exist with her, and it doesn't know how to survive without her. And if you think that's dramatic, think again. Ask yourself, if Caitlin Clark sat out the rest of the season tomorrow, how many nationally televised WNBA games would get pulled? How many ticket sales would evaporate? How many sponsors would renegotiate their deals? Exactly. This isn't a league riding a wave. This is a league being carried by one. And that's not sustainable. Not for Clark. Not for the players around her. Not for the fans who showed up expecting a new golden age, and instead got a one-woman show surrounded by silence. So what now? What happens next? The league has two options. Option 1. Keep milking Clark's fame while hoping nothing goes wrong. Ride the PR train. Slap her face on everything, and pray her knees hold up through year 2. It's easier, cheaper, and works great until it doesn't. Option 2. Grow up, accept that the Caitlin Clark era is real, but use it as a launch pad, not a life raft. Build rivalries. Invest in storytelling. Get serious about officiating. Create structure, because without a bigger plan, the league will stay stuck in a feedback loop where all roads lead to one person. And that person, she's already halfway to building a billion-dollar brand that doesn't need the league's approval. In fact, she's already doing what the league should be doing. Building culture, driving innovation, capturing audiences. Nike didn't just give her a logo. They gave her permission to lead. And the WNBA? It's still trying to figure out how to follow. So to wrap this up with the same drama it deserves, this wasn't just a meltdown. This was a moment of truth. Caitlin Clark isn't coming. She's here. And if the WNBA doesn't catch up, they'll wake up one day and realize the face of their league no longer needs their league at all. Let that sink in. The fallout from Caitlin Clark's Nike-fueled domination is only getting more surreal by the day. If you thought this was just about sneakers and logos, think again. We're watching a marketing coup unfold in real time, and the WNBA is out here trying to play catch-up with smoke signals while Nike's launching satellites. Let's zoom out for a second. Nike doesn't accidentally create a global brand. They engineer them. Every rollout is precise. Every partnership deliberate. And when they decided to push Caitlin Clark to the top of the cultural pyramid, that wasn't a good faith investment. That was a chess move, 5 steps ahead of the league, the media, and even Clark herself. Because here's the truth. Nike didn't just bet on Clark to elevate the WNBA. They bet on her to transcend it. And it's working. Everywhere you look. TikTok, Instagram, ESPN, streetwear forums, resale sites. It's her, not the Indiana Fever, not the WNBA. Her, the logo, the attitude, the image. She's not just trending. She's defining a new archetype for modern athletes, a player who doesn't need the league to validate her success. The league needs her just to survive. We've seen this story before. Jordan didn't just elevate the NBA. He transcended it. His brand became a standalone empire, with or without the Bulls, with or without the NBA logo attached. Serena? Tiger? Brady? They became bigger than their sports. But here's the difference. They built their legends over years. Clark is doing it in months. And the WNBA? They didn't see it coming fast enough. They treated Clark like a rising star when she was already a solar flare. So now, with every new merch drop, every viral moment, every whisper of her return from injury, the balance of power shifts further and further away from the league and deeper into brand Clark territory. And let's not sugarcoat it. The league looks scared. Suddenly, there's a weird tension every time Clark's name comes up in interviews. Players side-eye the media when asked about her. Coaches give half-hearted answers about team focus. Even WNBA execs are scrambling to maintain the illusion of parity, try to emphasize that every player matters when the entire economy of the sport is currently orbiting one human being. It's awkward, it's fragile, and it's unsustainable. Because while Nike is busy building Clark into a movement, the WNBA is trapped in this impossible loop. They need her more than she needs them, but they can't admit that without surrendering the last shred of league-wide authority. So what do they do instead? They overcompensate. They try to elevate other players overnight, as if stardom is something you can mass-produce in a lab. They put together awkward, everyone's a superstar campaigns. They schedule marquee games that feel like forced rivalries. They lean on diversity buzzwords and recycled taglines like that's going to fix the structural imbalance. Spoiler, it doesn't. Because fans aren't stupid. They see what's happening. The numbers don't lie. The spike in ratings, a surge in merch sales, the ticket sellouts, all track directly with Clark's presence. When she's on the floor, the sport feels electric. When she's not, you can hear the echo in the arena. And that's the real crisis. Because at some point, the WNBA has to choose. Do you continue pretending this is a league-first story? Or do you finally admit that Caitlin Clark is a business model now and figure out how to build a new kind of league around that reality? Because we're past the point of no return. This isn't just about one logo. This is about an entire league being forced to ask itself what it stands for and whether it can evolve before it gets left behind entirely. And don't get it twisted. This isn't Caitlin's fault. She's not scheming. She's not power-hungry. She's just existing at a level the league wasn't prepared for. She's showing up, doing what she's always done. Hit shots, make plays, lead with focus. And the world is responding by making her the face of a revolution. That's not ego. That's gravity. She walks into the gym, and the energy changes. She posts a logo, and the stock market practically twitches. She's not just a player. She's a cultural algorithm, and the world keeps clicking refresh. But while all this is happening, while Clark's empire is rising brick by Nike-branded brick, the rest of the league is left asking itself a very uncomfortable question. Where does everyone else fit into this picture? Because let's be real, not everyone can be Caitlin Clark. Not every player will get a signature shoe. Not every team will sell out arenas on the road. So how do you create an environment where multiple stars can flourish? Here's a hot take. You stop faking parity. You stop pretending that the league is a flat, equal playing field of every star is the same. Because that's not how sports work. That's not how entertainment works. Fans don't invest in generic brands. They invest in icons, rivalries, storylines. So lean in. If Caitlin Clark is a sun, start building constellations around her. Turn her into the protagonist of a league-wide cinematic universe. Make the rivalries real. Make the narratives messy. Let the players speak freely. Embrace the chaos, the drama, the unfiltered passion. Because if you want eyeballs, if you want ticket sales, if you want culture, you're not going to get it from fake balance and lukewarm branding. You're going to get it from polarizing moments, from real tension, from a league that understands that sports are entertainment, and that the business model is only broken if you keep pretending it's not. So what's the future? Well, if Nike's playbook is any indication, it's already in motion. More merch, more crossover collabs, a full-blown Caitlin Clark media apparatus. Don't be surprised when her logo shows up in Fortnite or when she launches a youth camp with celebrity guests. She'll be guest hosting Saturday Night Live by next year, with or without a playoff berth. And the WNBA? They've got a decision to make. Do they build around this juggernaut, embracing the star economy? Or do they keep resisting it, hoping that the idea of equality can substitute for the reality of star-driven momentum? Because here's the real kicker. If the WNBA doesn't figure out how to evolve, someone else will. Maybe it's a new media company. Maybe it's a spin-off league. Maybe it's Nike saying, you know what? We don't need this league. We're the league. That sounds extreme, right? But so did the idea of a rookie outselling half the league combined. And that just happened. This isn't fantasy. This is happening. Right now. In real time. So to the WNBA, this isn't just a meltdown. It's a mirror. And it's showing you what the future looks like. With or without you in the frame. Act accordingly. And everyone else still watching this all unfold, what do you think? Can the WNBA evolve into the league Clark needs? Or are we just watching the sport's most promising moment turn into another missed opportunity? Drop your take in the comments. And if you're here for more brutally honest breakdowns of celebrity branding chaos, sports industry implosions, and cultural power plays, you already know what to do. Subscribe. Because when a single logo sends a whole league into freefall, that's not just news. That's history.